love. She came to me and said that you can love me anywhere. Swag Z's, look at my trees in the Gucci gon' sippin' that juice between the tree and the Tesla. Hit that trap like Max, hit the trap like Max, yeah. Hit the trap like Max, hit the trap like Max, yeah. Hit the trap like Max, ayy. Hit the trap like Max, yeah. Hit the trap like Max.
Everyone, welcome YouTube and the world. Those two things exclusively to episode 73 of High Top Flip Flops. As always, this is Chris, aka Chris, aka not Chris, aka bash me outside because I don't fight, I just get beat up, aka Dr. Do Too Little, aka it's not me, it's not you, we're just going through a tough time right now, aka Little Poopy Dirt. And as always, I'm here with Navik.
Hey, it's Navik, aka Navape, aka Mr. Upstairs Girls and Say Hello Then Run Away, aka the Tamil Tyrese, aka Big Sayon, aka the Little Couch. And you know what? Today, and only this particular episode, we actually have a special guest.
We have a very special guest. Every other guest prior to today is insignificant.
Wow.
Truly. Yeah. Everyone. All 72 guests we've had. Today we have Nate Burley, aka Young Clancy, with us today. Do you have any other AKs you wanna share with people real quick?
No.
That's totally fair. That's totally fair. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, this has been I don't want to say a long time coming, but we've definitely been keen to have you on for a very long time. So we're happy to have you here, kind of sit and chat with you in your home as well. You want to talk about this home a little bit? It's very, very cozy in here, and there's levels to it, literally and figuratively.
Yeah, there are 3 levels. Basement, main, and upstairs, as we call it.
Oh, is there a kitchen?
No, there's a kitchen on the main floor. Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
Phenomenal.
And upstairs, and the upstairs.
Oh shit! Okay.
Because the people live above us. Yeah.
Amazing. How long have you been in the space for now?
About 3 years.
Okay.
I would say. Yeah.
Phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we know that you're obviously down here where we currently are in the basement, making music primarily is what you're doing down here, but also just chilling, just vibing as well. Which is
come down here to vibe.
That's good.
Exclusively.
Honestly, like, the minute I stepped into this room, like, I felt the vibrations off rip. Like, I knew you were creating some real, as artists, we call it art. So I know you're
Totally, yeah.
Yeah.
I hear that.
Mm-hmm.
Others call it content. Content is also a preferred term these days. People really like that one.
Mm-hmm.
But no, Nate, you're someone we've obviously been keen to sit down with, due to the wonderful music that you make, and the chance that we've had to kind of listen to it over the past, I guess, 3 years now. It would have been 2016 that we kind of first came to know you and your music. But please tell us, man, how have you been feeling this month, this year even? Walk us through that for a moment real quick.
I'm feeling all right.
Yeah.
Steady.
Yeah.
It was great to put out the EP, Vol.II.
Yeah, that's right.
But I'm just excited to start working on new stuff now.
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of those songs were like quite old. Like they had gone back like 4 years, so it was great to like finish them off and be proud of that project.
Yeah, for sure.
And also perform them live a few times.
Yeah.
But it would also be okay if I never performed them live again.
Yeah, I feel like
That's how I feel.
Yeah. Well, thank you, man. I feel like the last time we spoke, you'd kind of been upfront about the excitement that kind of comes along with performing music live, but also the anxiety that comes with like being on the stage in front of some people you love and really care lots about, and also some people who are like you've never met in your life.
Yeah.
And just like how challenging it is to kind of be out there. Did you ever perform music as like a child? Were you ever part of like choirs, or like were you learning an instrument from like a young age that put you in that position?
No. It was more, my parents sent me to this alternative school called Voice, which had like a heavy emphasis on like drama. Like it was a very small school, and they put on a couple plays a year that everyone had to participate in.
Right.
So I guess that was my first experience like performing.
Right.
Not by choice.
Yeah, yeah, clearly not by choice. What was your role?
I was like, why did you send me there?
Yeah. Did you ever get an answer? Have you gotten an answer from your parents as to what their reasoning was there?
They just like weren't happy with the school. I was at public school,
Mm.
and they weren't happy with it.
Yeah, fair enough. Do you remember what the play was and what your role was in it?
Vaguely. They were like the all the students like wrote it as well.
Right. Oh shit, the students wrote it. That's phenomenal.
So
That's phenomenal that the students wrote it. I can just imagine
Yeah.
the storyline.
So it was
why did they do that?
not like a totally cohesive like plot or anything. It was more
That's
like
what
a
I imagine.
series of like sketches that were loosely tied together. So calling it a play is definitely a stretch. But I remember the first one. Me and my friends we were just like dressed up like nerds. We just like hiked up our pants really
Right.
high and wore like glasses.
Right.
I don't remember what we did or how it was part of the
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I can also imagine wanting to wipe it from your memory, but
Yeah, that's I've repressed it
yeah, exactly.
way deep down.
I was gonna say too, when I think of elementary school and story writing, or just like anything to do with like creating a play or whatever it is, I just think of like logic. I vividly remember in first grade trying to write this story for class, and involved like some badger, and then the badger is like trying to like show his like love for his wife, I guess. But then like my story was just like he ended up like going to get like flowers, but then like while he's at the flower shop, he realizes that he doesn't love his wife.
This is a wild story.
Yeah,
bro.
it is a wild story.
It's kind of like real life, actually.
But I vividly remember like showing it to my teacher and her just being like, there are plot holes and there's an inconsistency. Like, why did he like love her one moment and not? You know, like.
It's like a really sad episode of Arthur.
Yeah, that's exactly what it. That's exactly what it is. You know what, Miss Shear? I'll address her right now. He suffered greatly at the hands of her abuse. Okay, it was a facade. The flowers were a facade. He was struggling internally the whole time.
Damn, you were ahead of your time.
End
man.
scene. Yeah, thank you.
Jeez.
Yeah, they clearly weren't ready for it. But you know, at the same time, I'm sure I could have done some work on this play.
Sounds like a whack teacher.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, she just didn't get the she didn't catch my vibe, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But
You weren't in like screenwriting 101.
yeah,
You know, like,
yeah, exactly. What I should have been
child.
enrolled in. That's right. I should have been.
Yeah, what the hell? You know what? Screw that teacher, bro. Say, well, what is she thinking?
And here I am now, podding. You know, instead of
Yeah.
screenwriting.
In
Thank
your
you
face.
for in your face. Yeah.
She could have fostered you and really helped you grow.
Made me a protege. Yeah.
You know. Ultimately, you decided to do this podcast with me.
Yeah, exactly.
So, wow, look what you did.
Yeah.
That's a dumb teacher.
Side story, but you guys ever watch that movie Kindergarten Teacher?
Yes.
Have you seen that movie, Nate? Kindergarten Teacher?
who's in that?
So with Maggie Gyllenhaal.
Oh yeah. So
Wait, you remember? That's the character? That's the actor you remember from that movie?
Yeah, I mean she was like technically the main character, right?
Wow, I totally forgot
I
she
think
was
you're
in
thinking
that
of
movie.
different movies.
I'm thinking the one with Arnold.
Yeah.
Oh.
You're thinking of Kindergarten Cop.
Oh.
Oh, wait, what do you think? Wait, what did you say?
Kindergarten Teacher is a movie about like Maggie Gyllenhaal like being like possessive over this like child who's like a poet protege.
I've seen that actually.
Okay.
I'm not. Yeah, it sounds wild because I associate it with kindergarten cop first, but I actually did. See
That
movie.
is
It's a little
so
kid,
funny.
right?
It's a little
then-
kid, yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah. Anyways, that could have been her. That could have been you, is what I'm trying to say. But
She takes his poems and stuff. Right?
so she takes him out to like poetry bars. She's like, this man is like this child.
Kidnapping him.
Yeah, exactly.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah,
Oh.
it's like, yeah,
Pretty
it's
sad.
intense. It's a really intense movie. Yeah, that's a bad joke. It didn't go over too well, but
You know
that's
what?
okay.
It
I'll get it next
actually is the complete opposite of kindergarten cop.
Yeah,
Right.
what happens-
I've actually never seen.
I've never seen
Cop.
Kindergarten
I just,
Cop,
like, know about it.
Yeah, as soon as you brought up
Yeah.
Arnold, I was like, yeah, I think we're thinking of two different movies here.
Yeah, Arnold just had a supporting role in
Yeah,
this drama.
exactly. this
'Cause
drama.
What I was thinking is, so he was, kindergarten cop. There was a teacher there, and I thought Maggie Gyllenhaal was a teacher.
Oh no.
And then I was like, why would you think of Maggie Gyllenhaal first when you
Yeah.
think kindergarten cop?
No,
You know,
of
I
course
honestly
not.
think of the Arnold.
Yeah, fair.
But
That would be so
Yeah.
funny if Arnold Schwarzenegger had like just like a bit part in like a movie. Like he was just like a delivery man or
Yeah,
something.
that's
Like in the movie for 1 minute.
Just
Yeah.
like and like even subtler than like a cameo. Like they didn't like do it up like a big cameo. He was just kind of in the background like a
Yeah.
and kept it moving. That would be perfect. That's a great idea. Little
you,
Easter
yeah.
egg, you know? Yeah. hold on to that one.
I'm gonna try and see that through
Yeah.
somehow.
But speaking of screenwriting or story writing, we know that you went to school. You went to university out east, to study like study creative writing. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
How kind of, or maybe prior to even going out there for school, was songwriting kind of like an outlet or like a product of a lot of the writing you were doing prior to going to university or even going out to university? And did that come to you a lot earlier than production, or did it kind of simultaneously happen?
Yeah. Back then I was just kind of writing songs on a guitar,
Mm-hmm.
and not really showing anybody.
Yeah, fair enough.
Maybe in my last year of university I started putting up songs on Soundcloud,
Right.
and they got like 90 plays. That's pretty damn.
Hey man, listen, we got 90 high top floppers out there, and we love all of them. Love
Love the floppers.
the floppers, man. Love the
You
90
honestly got
listens.
it.
James Harden's out there.
Yeah, exactly. He's out there. He's out there listening, man. Oh yeah, 100%. He's out there. But yeah, and then was it while you were in university that you kind of explored with more production, like digital audio production, or did it take you some time before you kind of transitioned?
Yeah, I only started trying to produce. I think I downloaded Ableton like 5 or 6 years ago.
Okay, wow. Damn.
And then I actually went back to school
Okay.
and did this 1-year program at Ryerson called Media Production.
Okay.
I was like, maybe that'll help me get better production.
Right.
Seems
Yeah.
Seems like it will vaguely.
Yeah.
And it did. I ended up, my thesis project was this country album that was built from samples.
No way.
Yeah, it was fun.
Damn.
And yeah.
Damn. So it wasn't that long ago then. It's like some Pascal Siakam shit.
Sure, yeah.
Of really not. I mean.
I definitely put myself in the same league as Pascal
Yeah.
Siakam.
Yeah.
Listen,
As a dilettante.
Yeah. No, but truly though, I think just like given I think what I would argue is the complexity of your work and the kind of amount of layers and thought that go into it as well is very evident that you've kind of done a lot in those 5 years, which I think is pretty remarkable. We just had someone, our last guest on the show is this 21-year-old producer from Scarborough, and he's telling us that he's been producing music since he was 10 years old, and at first it was almost a little hard to believe. But
Wow.
yeah, I mean the fact that he's a little bit younger than us, but yeah, still, almost 10, 11 years ago for
I
him.
mean, yeah, it makes sense.
Got his hands on some Fruity Loops and kept and got things rolling.
I think they'll be more prevalent in this, like, going forward.
Yeah.
Like, all the hottest producers will be like 16.
Yeah,
So-
truly. Given what they have access to and what is out there for them to kind of learn from,
For sure.
But even with that said, I think it's always really really remarkable to kind of note the different time periods that it kind of takes not even takes, but the journeys that people go on to kind of get to where they are now. But yeah, as you kind of mentioned, this year, you have you released Vol.II, this lovely EP, and you had kind of mentioned that a lot of the songs that you'd produced on there were songs that you kind of started or had produced. Was it 3 or 4 years ago that you kind of got started on them? Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, a lot of them. Take Me To, the first song on the EP, was actually one of the first like songs I put up on SoundCloud as Young Clancy,
Oh shit.
like a while ago, and it was just it was like built on this Isley Brothers sample.
Okay.
So it was cool, but it was cool to bring it back and like kind of rewrite it with live instruments.
Right. And something I was gonna say too is in terms of, I guess, maybe what you were writing about, and what you were singing about as well. Did you care for it to kind of be like a continuation thematically from your first project or Volume 1, or was it more so? Yeah, was it more so for you, kind of like more about getting those songs out and kind of finishing them and putting them out at a point where you'd felt happy with them?
Yeah, it feels like a kind of like deeper exploration of the same themes as the first project.
Yeah.
But yeah, ultimately, I just wanted to finish them.
Yeah, for sure.
But I had a great time, making it. It just took a long ass time.
Yeah. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. One song that really stuck out to me was the last song on that, which I think is Clown, right? And I relate to it heavily because a lot of women have called me a clown. And I'm not talking about jokes.
Okay.
They've called me a clown for, obviously various reasons. And I want to know how you came into that song there. It was a lot of personal experience. It was just, maybe friends' experiences that you're writing off of.
Yeah, that's a close song to me as well. As someone who identifies as a clown,
right,
or a clown adjacent human.
Hey man, it's Clowns Anonymous right here.
Yeah.
We see you. Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
It's a couple of fellas
over here. Yeah. I actually got the idea for that song from the movie Wall.E.
Oh shit.
Because he has that really like sweet relationship with that like other robot.
Yeah.
And he's kind of a clown.
Yeah.
About it, so yeah, that was where it came from.
Amazing.
Wall.E. Sorry.
That's amazing. Yeah. Is there a lot of is there, I don't want to say, I don't want to generalize and just kind of say, songwriting inspiration, but yeah, is there are movies something that you you think lots about when you think about songwriting, or not even movies necessarily, but just kind of the way that stories are kind of told and the way characters are developed? Do you feel like that's helped you in kind of developing some of the, I guess I could say characters? I mean, I can imagine that a lot of what you've written about may come from personal experience, but oftentimes it can extend past that, right? We can see projections of ourselves in other characters.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think it's helpful to think of each song as like a more of a story.
Mm-hmm.
A song. That you want it to be like you want the like character of the song to be like very fleshed out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like movies.
Yeah.
I won't call myself a film buff.
Yeah, fair enough.
You're not a cinephile. Kind of the worst word for that, huh?
Yeah, cinephile. Yeah, I'm not into that one.
Yeah,
That reminds me of that Lonely Island with Michael Bolton.
yeah.
They're like, at the end, he's like, Michael Bolton is a major cinephile. Turns out Michael Bolton is a huge cinephile.
Yeah, you're not trying to be associated there, but yeah, I quite like that, mainly because yeah, I feel like this is a hot take, but sometimes our experiences, yeah, to fully say that like you're like a song is about like a lived experience, can potentially be like a stretch, you know, especially given that like sometimes the things that we experience in life can be like mundane, you know, they can be very normal and very regular things. So to think about them as characters are often like a really neat way to kind of like put them, to still allow for a listener to envision them as like a person, as like a human experience, and potentially rooted in like a thought or idea or maybe even someone that you've experienced in your life, but not necessarily needing to kind of tie back to you.
I mean, some people's lives are definitely crazy.
Yeah, it's true. It's very true.
But I'm not one of those people. If I really, was trying to be like tell nonfiction, music would be mad boring.
Yeah, fair enough. No, fair enough. Is that something you've ever outside of music? Is that ever something that you've dove into in terms of like nonfiction or even fiction writing? Is that something that you continue to do? Do you feel like you focus more of your energy into your musical production?
Yeah, I don't really do very much writing other than that.
Yeah, fair enough.
I try to keep a journal.
Yeah, healthy, man.
You know,
healthy to articulate thoughts.
I'm not doing it daily yet, but it's nice when I get to do it.
Yeah.
That's good.
I hear you. I've very recently fallen off, unfortunately, but here I am talking about it publicly. You know, having a couple clowns alongside me here to hold me accountable. Because yeah, I hear you, man. That's it's an important thing to do, to get that out, get those thoughts out there. Something that I guess yeah, Nivek and I have definitely noticed when it comes to your music or even your social media presence, is that there's very little to actually know.
A lot of clowning.
A lot of clowning. First of all, we'll say, well, not necessarily in the music, but there's very little facade. I think we get all of you. We see you when you're up on stage presenting your music, or even on social media, tossing around the Patagonia sponsored ads, which we greatly appreciate. I think.
Thank you.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, we kind of operate the same way, and by this I mean to say, like, we're very well aware of like how hashtags and Instagram algorithms work, and how paying for ads and all that stuff kind of works, but in a lot of ways, very intentionally, we're almost just like not too interested in it, because we're not too sure necessarily, how it contributes to what we're doing, or if it's even a lifestyle that we're kind of like ready to commit to for various reasons. But yeah, I guess I am kind of curious.
I recently joined the 1,000 follower club.
Whoa, hold on.
Play that.
I got it.
already know.
What
you
am I?
have that ready.
What am I doing?
Not to brag.
Bang it off him. Bang it one more
Damn.
time.
How's that feel?
It feels great to finally have the same amount of followers as a popular high school student.
Dude, you know what you need to do? You need to put all the initials of all your best friends in your that's your bio. That's like how you're really gonna get those followers, because every one of your followers is gonna want to get their initials in the mix, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So listen, this is just a little branding strategy here. I'm just putting your way, okay?
I love it.
You got to think big here
more.
when it comes to content. We're content creators
Of
over
course.
here.
First and foremost,
before being human beings, we create content. But no, I guess I'm curious to know, because I think why I bring this up is that I think it's very evident that there is like a formula to kind of garnering this like attention and garnering this like momentum when it comes to promoting anything that you do, particularly on the internet. And I guess I'm kind of curious to know whether you feel like a pressure whether there's like a pressure for you, or if you feel very comfortable in the kind of decisions that you made to just like to not necessarily feed into, I guess, this formula that I'm kind of mentioning here that does involve like doing the promotional material and getting the sponsored ads and doing the collabs and, you know, all sorts of I don't want to say unnecessary things, but evidently like I don't know, kind of like rooted in like.
Do you guys ever watch the sponsored posts that appear on your feed?
I only watch them when like they're from like people that I followed before who didn't have sponsored ads. So when I do see them, I'm like, oh shit, this person is sponsored.
They've been getting pretty wild for me.
Yeah.
There's like a lot of just like dudes like rapping along to like a beat playing off an iPhone.
Oh shit.
And then they paid money to like advertise this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see a lot of dudes with just selfies and they promote it. And I'm like, my G.
Post. It's just,
Are you
Never
serious?
do that.
Oh my
G.
god.
That's the worst.
Damn. It's like at that point, it's just like, what even is your personal brand, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not trying to like diss anybody here, but yeah, I'm dissing, essentially.
I think you are.
Yeah, I'm very much dissing.
Let's be honest. Let's diss these people.
I'm dissing.
We all have personal brands. Mine is, you know, being single and a podcaster. You know?
It's a great brand.
That's tight.
That's great brand.
Right?
It's very
Exactly. That's what everybody knows me as. They see me on the street and like, holy shit, how are you a podcaster and single at the same time? I personally don't know how you're still able to do this, but you know, just one of the things, self-control.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
You're keeping it together.
And you know what? Ultimately leads into how we take care of ourselves. You know, we're doing Therapy Boys.
Yeah.
2019.
2019, 2020.
Therapy gang.
20 to infinity, you know?
Exactly.
That's right.
I haven't been yet, but it's on my to-do list.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Hey,
yeah.
fair enough. You know, of course we can say there's no time like now, but you also got to be in a headspace to kind of get there.
I'm going to call this therapy for now.
That's fine.
Therapy.
That's, man.
Podcasting.
Wow. Okay.
Okay.
Wow. Well, you know, if it's with us, then that's a privilege. Let me tell you.
I feel better already.
Oh man.
Whoa. Are you saying we're healing you in a way?
Send me an invoice. You know?
Jeez. All right.
We're energy healers. Only we're aligning chakras. I'm throwing shade at my mom. Shout out to my mom for being a Reiki instructor. I have qualms with the practice. I'm sorry. I have qualms with the practice.
Is that true?
Yeah, she is. And it's cool, man. She's, you know, we joke about the vibes, but she's been aligning vibes, you know? She's been creating vibes.
She's really the queen of vibes.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
You want to talk about vibes?
She's a vibe creator, and she doesn't even DJ. Take that in, man.
Wow.
Yeah. She's no promo material at Coda nightclub, let me tell you. But she's still creating vibes. But no, to get back to what I was mentioning, yeah. Do you feel like, because I understand obviously you have management, and of course you have friends who make music as well. Given what you've kind of come to understand about I guess very simply put, yeah, how people like make money and kind of garner the streams or the attention that they care to. Do you feel that there's some sort of pressure to kind of succumb to a lot of these like kind of like boxes to check off on like a to-do list?
No, not so much anymore.
Mm-hmm.
This past project was put out by a label, so I mean they covered a lot of like sponsored posts and whatnot.
Amazing.
Which was good. But other than that, I don't know. Like, like it's so exhausting to like do like formulaic like Instagram posts.
Yeah.
And like at the end of the day, like people would, I think people would rather like get a more like authentic, like unique content.
Yeah, content. Yeah, that's right. No, exactly.
Like, just like a ton of, at least for me.
Yeah.
I'm not a model.
Yeah.
It's also weird that I have to like, it's like really important for me to like thrive on a visual platform.
Yeah.
As a musician, but
yeah, no kidding. My gosh, that's actually a very good point. I didn't think about that coming into now, but yeah, that is a very good point. Is like why does that become a standard that you're kind of meeting, given that your artistic medium has? I mean, not to say that you don't produce and kind of like put out videos to music, but yeah, that's a real thing.
Mm-hmm.
I am curious to know though where your affinity for the Patagonia ads came from. Those are quite brilliant.
It's just a brand that I respect, and I hope that someday they give me the respect that I deserve.
Because you know what?
If they only had known all the micro influencing I've been doing on their behalf.
That's right. Look at us. You have us talking about it on a third-party platform. The jacket Nivik's wearing today, or was wearing yesterday, it's Patagonia.
And today, yeah.
And today,
Wow.
that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
I clock that every time.
Yeah,
Wait,
that's right.
are you saying your influenced me to get a Patagonia winter jacket?
Maybe.
Kind of weird. That's.
When did you get it?
Yeah.
I mean,
When and where?
honestly, last week. So big.
Bam.
Got him.
God.
Hey, Patagonia, wake up.
Patagonia, give me my fucking money.
Yeah. Give me my fucking money.
Patagonia, get out of your damn bed and wake up.
Yeah. Smell the
Pay
coffee.
attention. Pay attention and offer the bag.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah, please.
I am begging you.
But no, I think it's great, and I also think there's great irony given that I think my favorite thing is watching someone when they're kind of like given like a product from like a particular brand, and oftentimes I'll see these people like open up the box and there's always this like really lovely handwritten card by some PR intern who's written like, hey, blank, like, thanks for rocking with us for so long. And it's like, how do you actually know? Did they just send you an email and tell you that they've loved this brand for the past 15 years of your life? But you, on the other hand, you're just there's nothing on the other end. I think that's what love is. At the end of the day. But listen, if there's anything we can do to help you make it happen, if we need to just...
I am desperately seeking validation from any brand at this point.
Okay.
Bass Pro Shop.
Yeah, that's right.
Compliments.
Yeah.
Food.
No name brand. We will take the
Compliments.
no name frozen peas any day of the week.
Bright Bar.
Absolutely.
Just one of the big few, the
Oh
big
my
three.
god. That's right. No name compliments break part. Those are the big three.
Yes, sir.
All right. We'll keep you in mind.
I can be bought.
Yeah. I have a price. Oh my god. So this year with the music that you released prior to releasing Vol.II, you released the Friends EP, which is a project that you put together with your friends, folks that you admire or who are your pals, who also make some pretty great music. Yeah, I guess I was about to assume that there's like some grandiose timeline that you've come up with for yourself, but maybe I shouldn't assume that. Is that something that is just kind of happening as you determine your like capacity and your motivation and your energy levels to produce your music and kind of like commit to the recording process and production process? Did you have this friend's project in mind for some time? Was it something that kind of came together? Yeah,
It was actually the label's idea.
Okay.
So it did not come together organically at all.
Okay, fair enough.
They were like, yeah, like we kind of want you to like when Vol.II was like kind of a ways away from being done.
Right.
They were like, what if you like put out, some other music like in the meantime?
Mm-hmm.
And they suggested doing like a collaborative project.
Right.
And they were seeing it more from like a marketing standpoint.
Mm.
I was like, all right. But then it was actually a really fun, great experience.
That's brilliant. You know what though? I do get that. When you're like, when someone is explicitly telling you that it's like, this is for like some kind of branding or like marketing perspective, I can understand how that's off-putting, right? It makes you, it makes you question the like integrity of this idea, whether or not there's like something that provides you as like an artist some kind of like personal satisfaction or gain as well, fulfillment. Pardon me, not gain. But I'm glad that it turned out super well in the process as well. How did you kind of go about putting these songs in particular? There's like very clearly a bunch of really, really talented artists, and I'm curious to know, was it just kind of you doing some outreach to pals just to see who might be interested?
Yeah, I just had a few like instrumentals and whatnot that were bubbling.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was kind of nervous to ask everyone.
Yeah.
I said yes.
Amazing. Everyone. Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Perfect record. That's brilliant.
Yeah, 6 for 6.
6 or 6. That's great. And of course, you earlier this year you kind of performed as well. When was the last time that you'd performed live prior to that concert?
To the friends.
Was it in February? Was it in February that you performed?
No, that was in March.
In March. Okay.
It had definitely been a while.
Mm.
Yeah, that was quite stressful.
Yeah, talk to us about that. What presented as challenges for you?
Well, I wanted to put together a band.
Mm.
So I was like very on top of it, like months in advance.
Right.
I put together a band, and then like a month away from the show, like the drummer and the guitar player like got better opportunities, and we're like, yeah, we have to bail on this.
Oh shit! Oh man.
But then I got other people who were great.
Yeah.
But then it was just like a very like hectic rehearsal. I think we only had like 2 practices prior to the show.
Oh wow.
And it was like just like so many emails and Instagram DMs to everyone organizing.
Right.
I was like, fuck, I don't know.
Yeah.
This is gonna be good.
Oh man. Yeah.
But yeah, it was nice. It was a nice time.
Yeah.
In the end.
Yeah, it was wonderful. If I'm not mistaken, it was sold out. There were people waiting outside who weren't let in at the damn Baby G.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, that's what you get for not being punctual.
Hell yeah.
And everyone crushed it that night as well. And super fun that everyone who you collaborated with on the project was able to come through and perform with you as well.
Mm-hmm. Everyone except Fred Wave.
Right.
Who lives in UK.
Right. Okay. Shout out to Fred Wave.
Shout out, baby.
Shout out, baby. And how did you? I guess. How did you feel when it came to putting out Vol.II? Did you feel like there was like Was there pressure? Was there like a timeline that you'd kind of said, or maybe even the label that had given you to put it out, or was that solely on you to kind of put out when you'd felt comfortable with it?
There were like 3 timelines that just each one just kept getting pushed back.
Fair enough.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I didn't really feel any pressure.
Yeah.
You know.
Fair.
Yeah, I wasn't being harassed by fans
Yeah.
asking for this, begging me to drop this project.
We need that crack for the streets.
Right.
Yeah. We need you to feed the streets real quick. I know.
You may not know this, but Navakin actually did a 10-hour live stream on YouTube at midnight of the Vol.II drop. We were just waiting, just eating chips, waiting for the drop, and then dropped, and then we watched it, or we listened to it. And we watched it. We watched the album.
We actually played Kindergarten Cop silent on mute, actually.
That's right.
And this was like playing.
That's right. And the album.
Yeah, it's like Dark Side of the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, little do you know, your album is actually the perfect soundtrack to Kindergarten Cop.
Perfect sync.
That's right. You actually just had to play the album 13 times through, but still really, really great. This is a bit of a ridiculous question, but we're gonna ask it anyways. If you were to ghostwrite for any artist out currently, who would you want to ghostwrite for?
I don't know. I feel like I'd want to try to write pop music. Dua Lipa.
Woo.
Holla at me.
That's right.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
Mm-hmm.
That would be very cool. Would you, I'm trying to think. Would you ever do like, I don't know what would be too obscure. Do you think you'd ever write like a rap verse?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Do you think?
Like I said, I can be bought.
But to spit, like they want you to actually.
They wanted
the
you.
verse
What
and
if they
perform.
wanted you? What if they wanted you to?
They wanted me to
feature?
rap?
Yeah. They wanted Young Clancy to come through.
For sure.
Yeah, it's YUNG.
Logic.
That's right.
Logic featuring Young Clancy.
Well, yeah, that's the perfect record, bro.
That's right. That's a lot of bars. That's like 1,000 bars, all in one song, right there.
I do have to say real quick that Logic is, he did a French Montana song
Oh yeah.
about the strip club, and he has a verse on there that is absolutely gross and disgusting. And I say that because when he says it, once Juicy J says it, it sounds comfortable. When he says anything close to that, it just sounds filthy and nasty.
What's he talking about?
He's
He's like getting lap dances and.
Yeah, and it just sounds wrong when he's talking about he's telling a girl to let her worries go, and immediately have sex with them.
Oh.
And but in a Logic way, so it doesn't sound sick. It sounds more educational, you know.
I guess it's not great to like have to picture Logic having sex.
Yeah, that's right. It doesn't help.
Yeah.
It doesn't help at all.
Mm-hmm.
I just picture him with like his glasses on still, and like just like explaining how he was like feeling during the day in the process. Just like today was like a long day, and I could tell you about it if you really want to hear. That's what I imagine him doing. Clearly, I've thought about this for too long already.
Remember that the Ed Sheeran song "Shape of You" when it came out?
Oh yeah.
Like part of the story behind the song was that he wrote it for Rihanna originally.
I did not know that.
But I think that was actually a lie, and it was just like a genius PR strategy.
Whoa.
So like no one had to picture Ed Sheeran having sex when they listened to the song, and they thought about Rihanna instead.
Oh,
Wow.
Interesting. Damn.
Okay.
That is a wild PR strategy. I wonder how Ed felt when his PR team told him that. They're like, hey, listen, bro.
bro. In it, bro.
Yeah. Not sure this is a good idea. Wow. I wonder. That's a good theory. I wonder.
I mean, I can never prove it to be true.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, artists always say that, though. They're always like, oh, I wrote my song for Michael Jackson. Or, when when he was alive. I'm like Akon. I'm pretty sure. I don't know if Michael's that down.
Yeah,
You know,
that's right.
he's not that understanding.
He's not that understanding. Yeah. Oh
Mm.
shit. Who would you go straight for if you had the chance?
That's a great question. Who would I ghostwrite for? Probably Tory Lanez.
Oh.
Okay. No way.
No way. Wow.
No, I mean, you know what? I know
Weird.
people shit on him a decent amount, but you know what? Chicks Tape 5 is coming out.
Oh my god.
And you know what? That might be a vibe
Wow.
to listen to on when you're all alone.
Exclusively when you're alone.
Ooh. See, the thing is, I'm going to pick all these good artists.
Right.
And I don't know if I would be able to ghostwrite for these actual
Right.
artists that write. So I wouldn't know off top. Who would you say?
I
I'd have
guess.
to ghostwrite for the ghostwriter of Drake.
Oh, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. What was his name? Quentin Miller? Was that his name?
Yes.
Quentin Miller.
Quentin
He was-
Miller, yeah.
He was phenomenal.
Hmm.
I
What's
was
he
actually,
up to?
I was actually
Yeah.
listening to him the other day.
Oh, yeah?
He's still. I mean,
Quentin Miller Originals?
Quentin Miller originals. That's right. Don't get as much love as they deserve. Decent, nothing spectacular. He actually wrote a song just last year called Destiny Freestyle, where he kind of addresses the situation.
Mm-hmm.
And he also talks about getting in like a horrendous car accident and like having to amputate the lower half of one of his legs. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Jeez.
Yeah, he's gone through a lot. He's like a single father of 2 daughters.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Whoa, really?
Yeah. And he just kind of talks about how like he didn't ask for like any of the commotion of that Meek Mill thing. He was just trying to make music with someone he respected, and he did what he had to do to like pay the bills and upstart his career. And it was just like I didn't want to get dragged into this Meek Mill thing, this Nicki Minaj thing, and a lot of shit has gone on in my life, but no one seems to care. And here I am, just still putting out music. Since then, he's put out like a couple albums.
I think Meek Mill kind of fucked him over with that, like
I
his whole
wonder.
situation.
I wonder, because I don't really know how it affected him. If anything, I would assume that it gave him more
Definitely
attention.
made him more famous.
Yeah. I would assume it gave him more attention because it's like, oh wow, you wrote and rapped and did everything for one of Drake's most popular songs, right?
Definitely top 5
Yeah, tough.
Like top 5 what?
Drake songs.
Yeah,
Oh, nice. Oh, I thought you were gonna.
top
So
5.
he's
songs
top
of all
5. I
time.
was like,
Like Quentin Miller is a top 5.
Yeah.
yeah, I didn't know.
That's right. Guys, it's Nas.
He's top 5
Yeah.
ghostwriter for
Yeah,
sure.
top 5 ghostwriter.
Yeah, and I mean, ghostwriting for Drake is like one song is a healthy annual salary,
Yeah, I hope so.
And like I feel like, yeah, you want to get that shine, but you shouldn't mind. I don't think he would mind just continuing, doing that
Keep
process.
doing his thing, yeah.
Yeah,
But he
I hope
can't.
He got a nice check for sure.
Oh, yeah,
But
I
he
hope
can't
so.
though anymore. I'm sure that Drake probably dropped him after that situation.
Yeah. Well, that's a shame, Tried to build a healthy relationship.
Dang.
He got, but he's still doing his thing, And I think I started listening to him more because I was like, oh, you know what? If this if Drake found him that significant, to have him write a whole song for him, it was worth giving him a listen. So shout out to Quentin Miller. Yeah, but I don't know who I would go straight for, to be honest with you. I was jokingly going to say like Kendrick Lamar, but no, I can't rhyme, so that doesn't help. But I'll think about it. Maybe I'd go straight for like a metal band, on some like obscure shit, yeah, or like a punk band maybe. Show Me the Body. You heard of that band? They're really good. They opened for King Cruel a few years ago, when he came to Toronto.
Oh,
Yeah.
at the music hall?
Yeah, that's right.
How's that?
Oh, fair enough. Yeah, Show Me the Body opened.
Yeah, I didn't see them.
That's
Sorry.
No, that's all right. That's all right. You know what? They're actually coming to the Garrison on Sunday. If you have any interest in following up,
I'm there. I have unfinished business.
Yeah, that's right. gonna come back to talking about your music here. I think with a lot of the music that you put out, there's a lot of themes sonically that kind of go in and out of your projects. I remember something that we spoke about earlier this year was like a lot of the uses of your samples in places that kind of add on to the more like fundamental instruments of a bass line and a melody and a drum, where you kind of have like these noises. Sometimes they can just sound like really distant, or sometimes they're more integral to the song. But I remember mentioning to you that it was very reminiscent of My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasies, and like a lot of the sounds that you kind of heard in that project. And I remember you saying that it was like a very a meaningful album to you, something that you'd listened to a fair bit of and kind of studied. But I guess I say this to kind of say that it's very clear that there are a lot of ideas and a lot of kind of influences and instruments that you showcase in the music. I think the Friends EP is also like a great testament to the kind of diversity and variety in the sounds and the music that you create. I'm curious to know, do you feel like there's like a pressure by this like idea of like sticking to a genre? Because I guess the way I see it is like it doesn't seem like that's something that you're bound by, but I'm curious to know if that's true for you as well, or if you feel differently about it, or if that's something that you're thinking lots about when you make your music.
I definitely don't want to be bound by any genre. I think when I put out the first project, and it was like very like rap influence. Like a lot of people started calling me a rapper.
Really?
I was like, no, please.
Yeah, please, dear God. I mean, if Logic came knocking at your door, be a different story.
Yeah, I'm a rapper.
Yeah, I'm a rapper.
You rap.
Only for you, Logic.
But no, sorry. Please do continue.
But yeah, I love to like play with different genres and try to like cram as many into every song as possible. I think in general, like we're living in like very like genre-less time. Spotify age. Yeah,
Spotify age. Streaming era. We were actually the streaming era. We were actually joking about this right before you came down. We were just saying, listen, there's only one war we need to be concerned about right now. It's not the war on terror. It's not the war on drugs. It's the war on streaming. Streaming wars, man.
Everything from music to porn.
Everything.
Disgusting how they do that. They force us to go to this one website and stream off this website. When
trial runs.
So the war is against this platforms.
The war can be anything you want it to be, but yeah. Let's say it's the war.
I think that's how regular war works too. It's anything you want.
But yeah, you know what? I'm tired of the the exclusivity that's gonna come with, only being able to get my Star Wars fix on Disney Plus. Oh my God.
Yeah,
kidding
really.
Me? Then I gotta go to Crave TV if I'm interested in watching
we're gonna have like 5 different streamers.
Streamers, yeah, precisely. Then you got the good old, your handy Netflix, and then you got the wars of the the iPhone users who want to have Spotify rather than Apple Music. They feel conflicted, like they're betraying their masters.
That's big.
Well,
it's
I think as long as you're willing to like click the X on like a million pop-up ads, you can watch anything for free.
It's true. Shout out Putlocker, man. Shout out the Pirate Bay forever.
123 movies.
Shout out 123 movies.
I appreciate you.
.to.eu.zo. It's constantly changing.
Despite all the viruses.
That's right.
You definitely.
Yeah, it would have saved you more money to just like buy a Norton antivirus and just keep it all going than to have just gone through with it. But we do it for the freedom, because that's all we want.
Freedom. That's what
we want.
That's what it's about.
That's You don't want to be tied down to the streaming services. Come on, man. Disney Plus. Kidding me?
Netflix Canada is hurting.
Yeah.
We need more movies on there.
Don't make us pay for the VPN. Is what we're telling you, Netflix.
Yeah.
Just think about us, please.
But Disney Plus is a problem because they own Hulu and Hulu owns FX. That's like a shitload of shows, good ass shows there.
Yeah. Isn't that where Atlanta's on? Is Atlanta
Atlanta's
on
on
FX?
FX.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
FX.
Dangers.
Fargo. The other
It's Always Sunny.
Yeah.
that's
Shit.
on there. Shoot.
Yeah, that is bad. So what? Yeah. I mean, I'll still be torrenting, but that's all right. This is I'm concerned about everyone else. Can't just sit on my uTorrent high horse and not think about the people in this case. But it's the war on streaming. That's the real war we got to think about here, friends. But no, I think to what you were saying about genreless music. Yeah, I suppose I asked that question mainly because I guess I acknowledge that oftentimes that is like a challenge for artists, given like when or where their popularity or kind of like momentum can come from, when there's like a particular song or particular ideas that very clearly resonate with people more than others. But ultimately and ideally, yeah, you never want someone to kind of feel bound to an idea, right? You want.
I feel like most people don't.
Yeah.
I only used to think that it's a problem for rappers and country musicians
Hmm.
who like feel that like the music that they make is like has to be like within a certain
Right.
kind of structure.
Right. That's fair. Yeah, fair enough. Maybe I am just thinking about rappers then. 'Cause yeah, I suppose I'm not thinking about country music too often. But yeah, fair enough.
Check it out.
Yeah.
Sometime. You're gonna love it.
Yeah. Okay. Who do I need to start? Who do I need to start with to get into it? Can you help ease me into country music?
Absolutely. Johnny Cash,
Okay.
Dolly Parton, some old greats.
Okay.
Lil Nas X.
Pardon me? Lil Nas X.
Lil Nas X.
One of the goats right there.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, we classify him
Yeah, that's
country.
Darius Rucker,
Yeah.
probably.
Probably.
I don't-
You point to
That's
him.
that's
can
also
you
a probably for me.
Yeah. I mean, he is a black man that's doing country music. I think he's to my knowledge, I think he might be the only.
At least in
country
current music,
which
yeah.
is kind of a wild feat, if you're able to do that.
Fair.
So I off rip, I think he's probably great. I haven't even heard one song, but I'm assuming.
Fair enough.
Yeah. We're
okay.
gonna say that he's really good.
Yeah. All right.
I've never heard his music.
Let's
but
go with it.
We're vouching for him.
Yeah. Vouching for him hard. Very clearly, super hard. We've never met the guy or heard his music. But that's fair. And I think that's like a very valid point to bring up as well. But do you think that's only a result of like this kind of like this more streaming age, or like as a result of like how much access we have to like so many different styles of music and people and places with their music, or
Yeah, people definitely like know way more music than ever before in time.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah, I think maybe for me personally, I think I also think I think when you say that, I think about like our introduction to like Afro beats. I realize a place like Toronto also like helps that on in terms of like what you hear people playing and where people are coming from. But even still, right, for us to then like follow up and be like, oh, I heard Afro beats, I found it interesting, I want to learn more about it, or I want to listen to all the different regional and like nationwide nuances that come with it, is suddenly far more accessible. Yeah, that was a very good point. Do you think or do you feel there are any like I guess outside of, given that when it comes to kind of like sticking to a genre or a particular sound, it's not something that you feel a pressure or maybe a fear of. Is there anything that you feel that you have a fear around when it comes to making your music?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't make my living off of music exclusively.
Fair.
So, there's nothing. I got almost nothing to lose.
Fair,
So,
fair enough.
And if you just make music that's interesting and that you think is really good, it'll be better received in the end
Yeah, fair enough.
than if you're just making the same shit over and over.
Right.
Which the people are out there doing and making a good buck.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you become successful and you have to that's when you would get pressure to
Mm-hmm.
make music a certain way.
Right.
Otherwise, what's the point?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, very good point. Yeah. I guess maybe what came to mind was thinking about a lot of artists who very much do have this a pressure to as it's their only I know you're the first person to ever say this to me, but it's their only job. The first time you referred to a job as job to me was just like mind blowing. You came up to me and you're like, "Hey man, you got a job?" And I was like, "Oh shit, I have a job." So thank you for that as
I'm
well.
impressed with myself.
But yeah, I'm glad that's not necessarily the case for you. But of course, anxieties around about music not sounding the way you want it to, or I don't know. Sometimes I get that there's like fear with like just like releasing something or like letting go of something, particularly when there's like ideas of like perfection surrounding the music.
Right.
But it's good to know, man. It's good to know it's not the case for you. I guess another question that we had for you was that how is it that you kind of you stay afloat when it feels like impossible to like sustain a living off music, but as you kind of mentioned, that's not necessarily the case for you. And something that you kind of mentioned earlier too is that there is like an exhaustion that comes with thinking about oftentimes this like facade that you kind of have to keep up to like to maintain some kind of like quote unquote relevancy. But yeah, I mean even without not necessarily having to or making a living off of your music, does that is that a challenge that you still kind of feel when it comes to like just like sustaining the work that you do as like an artist? Does it become challenging or exhausting?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Yeah, no worries. I'm sorry. I went super long with that. That's okay.
I just blacked out.
That's okay, man. That's okay.
I just had a stroke. Sorry.
Oh my god. Do you still feel that it can? Is there any point in time where it can feel kind of impossible to sustain like your work as a musician or as an artist, particularly when you do have other obligations, you do have a job or financial commitments or just like time and energy that you continue to commit to other places in your life?
It goes through ups and downs.
Yeah.
But it's just something you have to just keep doing.
Right.
Like as much as you can.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the only way forward. Just like keep doing it even when you don't want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Which is more often than
yeah.
care to admit.
Yeah. Yeah, fair enough.
But yeah, it's rewarding.
Yeah, well, certainly. Something that you mentioned a little bit earlier is that, and something that we saw in an interview that you'd recently done as well was bringing up therapy, and I know that you just briefly mentioned too that it's something that you're interested in kind kind of investing some time and energy into.
I love talking about how I'm going to go to therapy.
Yeah. Say for a very long time. I mean, I'm very much in that position right now. But it's also it's something that
A future therapy patient.
yeah, exactly. I'm a future therapy patient, exactly. But I did give it a go, you know. There's like a free kind of like government funded one, which was cool. Of course, the result of like it being government funded is that it's temporary, so it's not
Right.
like something you can keep going for, and it's usually very spread out. So rather than being able to go weekly or bi-weekly or anything like that, it's sometimes like 3 weeks, sometimes a month in between sessions. But it was, I guess, maybe not eye-opening, but I guess like obviously there's like different methods, right? People have different means of going about it. Sometimes it's like very inquisitive, and it's just a lot of questions and kind of getting you to conclude something. Sometimes counselors can often just like give you homework. It's just like, all right, you know, either like fill out this, you know, here are these like prompt questions and like answer them before you come to this next one. Or sometimes it's just a matter of like validating what you say. But I guess my therapist in particular was more so like a lot of homework and or not a lot, but a decent amount of homework, and it kind of felt like
Well, that doesn't sound great.
yeah. Yeah, I guess it wasn't, it was challenging to do, of course, because it was like so much of it was like self-motivation based, you know.
Right.
But I think I was in a lot of ways I was maybe surprised by like the amount of pragmatism, or just like how very kind of like logically it was broken down in terms of like reshaping the way you like think about yourself or the world around you or whatever it is. But yeah, man, do you feel like there's folks around you who've like reaped the benefits of it as well? What was it that kind of brought the idea for you of becoming a future therapy patient, you know? Because that's like in itself is a step, I think, because oftentimes I'm sure there's folks that you know as well who would like never even consider of going, right? And
It's just like getting older, you know.
yeah.
We all just have like so much shit.
Yeah,
It's like
that's right.
really like deep inside us. That's like affecting us on a daily basis, but like we'll never deal with it on our own, really.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no kidding. I think that year, that like realization was very much like something that we both came to this year, especially. But you know, it's Therapy Gang 2019 and Therapy Gang 2020 and 2021 and 2022. You know.
Yeah, and trust me, I'm in it. You know, I'm doing it right now, and I can say that I feel good. I feel better.
Yeah.
Because my therapy in the past was listening to Love Is Rage 1 by Rosie Vert. I thought that would solve my problems, but no, I needed a real person. Shout out Julianne.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she would love this actually. No, she wouldn't. But even when it's even when I have ridiculous issues, you know, I still have to talk to someone about it. You know, something wild like. Actually, no, I can't. I wouldn't.
You're about to disclose confidential
it's
information.
between you and Julianne.
That's
know?
right.
That
Yeah,
is
yeah,
true.
Yeah.
But I like, you know what? As you mentioned, potting is therapy.
Is it? Oh, okay. I actually
Is a
don't know.
form
I don't know
of
if
verbal
it's
therapy. You know, because
I don't know, man.
of all the types of therapy, you know, potting does get through some verbal therapy.
Fair. Lets you
And,
get some things off your chest, I suppose.
Yeah, and I'm glad for it. And you know what? All I can do is salute to that. Salute to that,
therapy.
and salute to insurance via your job.
Yeah.
Because you can get a massage out of job insurance,
Oh, tight.
and which is good. You know, a lot of us are tense in our shoulders. You know, we need therapy on our minds and our bodies.
That's right. Therapy is just a massage for your like psyche or whatever.
That's right. Yeah. Your heart, you know, your emotions.
For your soul.
Your soul. That's it right there.
And if you decide to be a person that gets a massage and then a happy ending at the end, a rub and tug, then that is ultimately your choice, but also the ultimate form of therapy.
Is it?
Oh no, you know what? That was one of those things where I was thinking about it while I was saying it,
Oh
Mhm.
yeah.
and I thought, oh, this is gonna hit him.
Yeah.
But no, it's
That's
just
alright.
a thought.
That's all right.
You know, it's just content in
Yeah,
my
yeah.
head.
That's right.
So just a piece of content.
Just a piece of content. That's right. Sometimes it's hidden. Sometimes it's.
Did you get that happy ending though?
I have never gotten one. Just because.
Have you been offered one?
No, and that's probably because the women that have massaged me, have seen me and decided, no, this is not right for me. They decided on their own.
Right.
This is not good. Like, I don't want to be doing this. And no judgment. That's all I can say.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Mhm.
judge those who do. I don't judge those who don't, especially.
Especially.
So I know you're on the same page.
Yeah. I think your therapy has brought you to a great place to be able to say that. You know.
Yeah. Whoa, what are you trying to say, bro? Yeah. Okay.
That's
Good
amazing.
point. That's a good point.
But hey, listen.
You just you sound very at peace. That's
yeah,
what I'm saying.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
That's good. Hopefully, you know.
Yeah.
I used to come off very angry. You know, I come in the podcast studio and knock things
Oh,
over,
really?
take off Chris's hat, and he'd be like, "Yo, what's up with you?" And I just kept it inside. You know, eventually got it out, let it out, and chilling,
You're just chilling, just vibing,
catching it.
catching it.
Now we're vibing.
That's right.
Now we're vibing.
Now we're vibing. That's right. But hey, listen. You know, when and if you're ready, please let us know. We're happy to provide you with resources, get you in touch with someone maybe nearby, affordable. Try and cover all those points for you. We're happy to help you.
Yeah.
But you know, in the meantime, you know, enjoy your time as a future therapy patient. I think that's what it's really about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I will.
Ooh. Yes.
All right, man. For the most part, we've kind of reached any or all the really hard hitting questions that we wanted to ask you. We usually end the show with 2 segments that hardly stay on course, but we're gonna stick with it for the sake of tradition and consistency, and get into our first segment called "Soup It Up," unofficially sponsored by Campbell's Soup, where we talk about something that's maybe made us upset or been challenging for us to kind of navigate or work through within the past week, the past month, the past year, you know, whatever it may be. So I'll start with you, Navik, as we always do. Is there anything that's made you a little salty or made you upset?
You know, I'm sure we've all heard this news regarding T.I. and his decision to.
I was actually thinking the same thing.
Wow.
And I'm sure you're thinking the same thing. Have you heard of this?
I have.
Oh, okay. So I'm sure you're on the same page as me, as in, you know, he's been checking his daughter's hymen, and she's 18 currently, right? And personally, I'm a new age man. I'm a man of the 21st century, as some
Right.
people like to call it, and I think it's absolutely disgusting, filthy. I personally would have stopped when she was 15, but you know, he just kept. No, okay, no, I would not. Of course, I'm kidding. I would not. That's not.
This is another
That's
one
nasty.
of the jokes that you're
Uh,
thinking about mid-thought there.
I was like, got him. No, it's very bad, and I don't think it's good at all. And you should not check your daughter's vagina and parts that don't concern you, right? And you should allow her to live. And ultimately, if you're having a child, you know, you have to be aware that that child is gonna have sex one day, or they may not. Have sex with their loser.
No, my God,
no,
you're the
no.
worst. You're
There are
actually
people.
the
No,
worst.
of course not. No, they're gonna have relations, and that's good.
You're on
And
a roll today. You're a real roll.
This is my highlight.
Yeah,
This
it's
is
your
the
highlight
highlight
tape
reel
right
of
here, right?
potting here. But yeah. So don't do that ultimately, and I'm sure do you agree?
Yeah,
Oh,
we're in agreement.
oh. Are you?
I'm
agree with
in
me?
agreement. I think if you're thinking about having a child, don't. I feel like you should just
Yeah.
spend the next 20
It's time to
years
stop
checking yourself.
Having kids.
Yeah.
Everyone.
Yeah. Just yeah, just think about being a good person to the kids already out there in the world, and be a good person to yourself, and just don't, so you don't do dumb shit like this,
Exactly.
I just feel so embarrassed for her
Yeah.
that he's talking about it,
Yeah.
and that's it became like a big story.
Yeah, that's right. This like girl's life,
Yeah,
It's
that's
fucked up
terrible.
that he was doing that, but that he was like talking about it on a podcast
Yeah.
of all places.
Right.
Whoa. What? I didn't even know
potting
that.
is not therapy. I'm putting that out there right now. It's just
Oh my goodness. He said that on a podcast?
he said it on a
It's that
podcast.
fucking podcast.
Yeah, man.
Jeez, and he said it probably proudly.
Sacrilegion.
Yeah. This place of sacred harmony.
And you know how he's talking. He's probably saying, like, I do declare that her
Indubitably.
her
He
rights
was, yeah.
her rights are my
He was like-
obligatory feelings and whatever. You know how he says that shit. So he probably said it in mad big words. So they were like, okay, cool.
He
But,
did. I believe he said expeditiously.
Expedition.
He's like to the doctor, and he's like, and I want my results expeditiously.
Oh, no.
He said, I
That's
do
wrong.
declare.
Which is fucked.
That's so
I do-
messed up.
Yeah.
I do declare. Somehow he just went back to the 1800s Mississippi. Jesus Christ. But yeah, it's very troubling, and I agree with you, Nate. I think it's really sad that this girl's life is like now like being publicly examined, by the world as a result of this like dad being so proud of like his decision to like police his poor like child. And I also think it's just like more reason and like another example to like add to the table of like our understanding of like our relationship to like women and like young women especially, which is as men, and that's really scary. But yeah, man, I think the moral of the story is just don't have kids because we're not competent, We're just not competent enough to like raise another human and like not mess up. I just think that's what it comes down to. And I mean, obviously I'm slightly joking here, there's like, yeah, there's a chance, and I'm sure if you try really hard, you'd probably do a good enough job, and it's really just about acknowledging your mistakes. But just don't do it anyways. I feel like that's the way to go.
Exactly. That's very true.
But yeah, mainly to just spare a child,
And pregnancy, all of it.
Yeah, all of it.
That's the message.
That's the message. That's the PSA. Well, wow, look at that. Our soup it up is the same. This is the first time ever in High Top Flip Flop history that we've all been thinking the
Three-way.
same thing. That's right.
Mm.
Three-way. That's right. That's right.
This is like the best three-way.
Well, you fucking T.I.
Yeah.
Fucked up, man.
Yeah, that's right.
We're not even directly affected, but
That's right.
I'm just haunted by it.
Yeah, truly though.
All that we can do is ultimately make change. So if I ultimately have a daughter, I will 100% not do that.
That sounds like a good place to start.
And that's what we can do if we decide to have children, or if we accidentally are with child. Then we gotta do what we gotta do, which is raise them properly and not do that.
Yeah, just don't. Yeah,
So
just don't do that. Let them live your life. Like, what's the? Yeah, I have nothing else to say. I'm just indubitably.
yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
man.
How long do you think it is before men can get pregnant?
Man,
Mhm.
good question. I'm saying. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you feel like you. I had no.
Oh, sorry.
can't
I just
come
don't
up
want to
with
cut
this
you
one.
off.
No, I thought you had something.
That's a good question. I guess I'm not going to answer this question because I just don't know enough of the science. I just don't know what we need to make that happen.
Me too, obviously.
Yeah.
Asking that question at all.
He obviously knew the science. That's why he's asking this question, bro. You don't know science, bro?
I don't know science, man.
That's also a good Arnold movie.
what?
Junior.
Oh, Junior.
Is that the one with Danny DeVito?
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
Spot on. Spot on.
And they're like twins, right?
No, that's twins.
Oh. Wait, have they been in 2 movies together?
Yeah, they had like a nice like double header.
Why? Why?
They just had great chemistry. One's big, one's small.
Look, that's what they were thinking in the 90s. Like executives were like, he's big, he's small.
Yeah,
Bang.
Put them together.
that's
90
a fucking
mil.
hit.
That's
Junior twins,
think about Rush Hour. Same principle. Just like, he's black,
Asian,
he's Chinese. Exactly. Let's put it together. Boom. Easy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow, we're such
Double-headed.
fools for taking this in because they did that. They were like, oh, black guy, Chinese guy. And then they monster hits.
Monster hits.
Like, people still watch
Yeah.
Rush Hour, man.
I mean, think about every blockbuster, you know?
Mhm.
It's really the worst thing. Guys, street racing. Let's drag it on for 20 years.
Yeah.
bad boys, black guy, other black guy.
Exactly. Easy. Good cop, bad cop. Easy peasy. Yeah, damn. All of them. Garbage. Damn, we got duped. We also need to brush up on our Arnold film
Yeah.
history. Because besides Terminator, we're just messing it all up. Confusing it for a kindergarten teacher.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, Arnold's really lived an interesting life, though.
Yeah.
You know?
Governor of California for a little bit.
Yeah.
Bodybuilder,
Bodybuilder.
then an actor somehow.
Yeah.
I don't know how that even came. Like, how did you make that transition?
It's a great question.
I think he achieved like a certain level of fame as a bodybuilder,
Yeah,
some level of recognizability,
that's right.
and then I think Conan the Barbarian was his first movie
Okay, good to know.
where I think I haven't seen it, but I feel like he's just like mostly like walking around in like a loincloth, just like axing with a big axe.
Yeah. Flexing.
Yeah, flexing.
Super oiled up.
Yeah, it's just a one long flex.
Yeah. yeah. I can picture that. I mean, realistically, his career has not. It's not really grown from there. You know, we haven't necessarily seen any complexity in his acting, but Junior was pretty complex, I suppose. It's a really complex role to take on.
Yeah,
Pregnant
he
man.
had some interesting comedy films.
Right.
Jingle All the Way,
That's right.
you might recall.
That's right. And he said he wasn't a cinephile.
Yeah, obviously I am.
Yeah, obviously. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's get into our final segment here. This one's called 3-Peat, unofficially sponsored by Lil Wayne. And this is where we ask you 3 questions in sets of 3. Try and answer them as quickly as you can, but if you got to take your time, you take your time. That's just how it is. First question. Who are 3 Canadian artists you're enjoying right now?
Well, Maddie just put out her project. It's really good.
Amazing.
Monsoon, no guy,
Yeah.
also just put out an EP. You know, I've just really getting back into my guy Neil Young.
Oh, yeah. Lovely.
You know,
Amazing.
Yeah,
Boom.
loved him in high school.
Yeah.
Left him behind for a bit. I'm back.
He's back. He'll
Yeah.
never leave you. He'll never leave you.
Yeah.
He'll never leave you. Phenomenal. All right, first question down. Next question. 3 favorite places to eat in your neighborhood.
Laziza.
Mm-hmm.
You know, shawarma, falafel, that type of thing.
Easy
really
peasy.
good. It's not like so much in my neighborhood, but this place, Khmer Thai, more north of here.
Cool.
It's like the best soup I've ever had in my life.
Damn.
Hit it up.
We will. Absolutely.
Elise and I actually went for like a very fancy dinner to this place, Actino Light on Ossington over there.
Nice.
It was like a wild like farm to table like 10-course meal,
Yeah.
and like the chef would often like personally deliver the plates,
Right,
and
right,
like
right.
tell you a whole story about them.
yeah. About all the
Yeah.
forage. They're an amazing
Whole
restaurant.
spiel. Yeah.
they go out every morning as like a crew. I'm sure they told you this, to like forage all their like veggies or not veggies, but herbs and berries and things like that to put in the food. And
They didn't tell me that.
Oh,
which is weird because they told me so much.
they just weren't trying to flex. They were trying to be humble, I guess. Maybe it's not every morning, but they go out super frequently, and it's just like the cooks. And correct me if I'm wrong, but there were like no like servers necessarily, eh? Was it just the cooks that they had there who were all kind of bringing out the food?
No, there were a few servers.
There were a few servers. Okay.
Yeah, it was quite a large staff for a pretty small restaurant.
Damn.
Yeah, it was pretty sick though.
Yeah, yeah. I've really wanted to go check that out. So that's great, man. I'm glad it was a positive experience. 5 stars on the old Yelp.
Yeah.
And this is the last question for you. Who are 3 people who support you unconditionally?
My wife.
Mm-hmm.
My parents. I guess that's 3 people. But
Fair enough. If you want to add a third, that's all right. Parents can count as one.
My wife, mommy, and daddy.
Easy peasy. Easy peasy. Beautiful. Well, listen, man, we've reached the end of this episode. Thank you so much for joining us, for being here with us.
Thank you.
I hope this therapy session was positive. I hope you know that this is nothing close to what therapy will be like. Therapy will be far more enriching. Less
I hope I find out someday.
Yeah. Hey, you certainly will. And enjoy, as I said, enjoy this time as a future visitor of therapy.
As a mentally ill
Yes.
person.
Oh my God. Oh shit. Yeah, I think that's precisely what I was alluding to there. My apologies. But people can listen to the music everywhere on all the streaming platforms out there, regardless of the streaming war.
Hell yeah.
You can listen to Vol.1.
Which side will you take?
Which side will you take? That's right. That's the real question. Because you're keeping track. He's keeping track of all the damn platforms. But listen to it all. And please keep up with Young Clancy if you're out there listening. Thank you again for joining us. Thank you for sharing your story with us.
Cheers.
We're excited to keep hearing whatever new music you decide to put out, whenever you decide to put it out. And just let us know, if we can work the door at your next concert or support you in any way we can.
You should do like a live podcast at the next concert.
Oh, just at the back.
Yeah.
And just like do commentary.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, what we should do
that presents a lot of audio difficulties. But
That's right. Just all the mics fed and just constant feedback. That would be perfect. We should really live stream.
You did some great troubleshooting earlier with the
oh God,
the sound, yeah. I really believe in you.
Hey, thank you, man. Sometimes I'm really good at just not plugging things in and then plugging them in. So I'm figuring it out as we go along. But no, truly, we're very thankful that we've had the chance to sit down with you here, and we're really excited to hear what comes out next, man. So thank you.
Thank you.
As always, this is Krish, aka Chris, aka not Chris, aka bash me outside because I don't fight, I just get beat up, aka Dr. Do Too Little, aka Little Poopy Dirt, aka It's Not Me, It's Not You. We're just going through a tough time right now. And as always, I'm here with Navik.
Hey, it's Navik, aka Navape, aka Mr. Up on Your Say Hello Then Run Away, aka the Tamil Tyrese, aka Big Seon, and aka Low Couch.
We're here with Nate. We're with Young Clancy. This is episode 73. Let's all say bye to the camera at the same time. 1, 2, 3, bye.
Bye.
Bye. And your palms are sweaty, yeah. Well, I'ma make you well. Yeah, I'ma make you well. The night is long. And you might have done wrong at the last one, but I'ma make it work. Yeah, I'ma do you well. I'll be your clown. I'll be your